What a way to kick off the show tonight. What's going on, y'all? Time for another episode of the Motorsports Almanac. We're going with the original two tonight, Shane and Wyatt. Wyatt, we're really starting to wind down our motorsports seasons. We have NHRA stuff. We have some tractor pulls here and there. They're still going to be happening, but we're very, very, very quickly winding down the 2023 season.
Yeah, it's coming to a close. We'll say that. Not a lot left. I know I'm pretty much done for the year. So,
yeah, I'm done too. I went to Elizabethtown for Battle of the Bluegrass this past weekend. Can I say big enough shout out to them and thank you for inviting us out there with them to video and to just go and cover it. You know, it was my first time ever going to a Battle of the Bluegrass pool. We ran two tracks, ran great all night long. We were done by, I think we were finished by 9:30 Central Time. So we moved pretty efficiently, and that was even with a 20-minute intermission. So we had some 22 light limited super stocks show up for the Bewley Memorial Pool. It was absolutely awesome pool. Seeing all those guys come out and support the Bewley family. And then, we had 22 light limiteds. We had I want to say 13 or 14 hot farms, and then 3.0 diesel trucks. I finally got to see Adam Kincaid run for the first time in person outdoors. I got to see a lot of people outdoors that I've never gotten to see because, I mean, they just don't live around here and run with us very often because Mid-South doesn't have 3.0s or, well, they do in a combo, but, I mean, we definitely don't have 9,500-pound hot farms on Mid-South.
yeah. No, it's I would say that event you went to was one of the most hyped ones, I would say, for the Mid-South and Battle Bluegrass at least. I think people knew what the purpose was of the event.
Yeah.
And for some of your classes, I know your light super stocks are a little down compared to what people thought would be there or what should be there. It's for the other classes, light limit super showed out like they should have. And then 3.0s, you know.
Man, 3.0s were so much fun. They were having a hard time at the end of the track, just
Yeah.
rough on those drivetrains at the end. But man, you talked about light super stock. We did have that class. We had 5 of them show, but we would have had like 12 or 13 if corn hadn't been in season. But Pass of the Night, in my opinion, came in that class with David Esteb, $8 Alki edition. Laid down a 357-foot pass and backed out of it. He had a lot more he could have got out of it at 39.5 miles per hour. That was the first time I've ever seen a pass that fast. And let me tell you, he was flying.
I think they've been fighting demons with that tractor for the longest time. Yeah. And I think that was a lot of big breath type of moment for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a monkey off their back because past seasons, I know when I watched them at Farley and some PPL hooks, it's just backfire after backfire and wanting to cough and die or ignition problems. And
right,
I want to see that. I haven't gotten to see a video yet, but I heard it was just outstanding.
Dude, it was awesome. That front end picked up right out of the starting line, and it just carried. It never touched the whole way down the track. I mean, he was hooked into the track the whole way. The track at Elizabethtown was absolutely phenomenal too. I mean, it was bogging guys down. Some of them were snuffing. I mean, there were some guys that had to shift down. So, I mean, the Phillips family, I'm sure, built the track. I never heard for sure, but I'm 99.9% sure being that close to their hometown they did. And
I would say
as close to the Bewley family as they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would guess they have something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great class overall. I mean, they never – like sometimes with the way the air gets, I mean, they're not tuned correctly. I mean, it's nothing that they do wrong. I mean, it's just how the air is whenever they pull it, and sometimes it's just too late to adjust it. But I mean, all 5 of them picked up and just laid down passes, and the track was just that good that I think he was last week of the class, won it. I can't remember though. But I mean, we had so many people out there. We had BB pulling videos. We had Let's Go pulling with John Murray. We were there. Turn around, saw Clint Tucker there. He brought him and Ryan Zolik were there. That was fun to see and visit with them for a minute.
Zolik was there.
Yeah, Zolik was with Clint. Yeah.
That is a haul.
Yeah, I think he told me he was harvesting at one of his buddy's farms that was down that way, and then they just decided to make the trip over because Clinstrap said he wanted to come to that pool and see what it was all about. And
Which makes sense. I mean,
man, we had a good one. It was fun.
it makes sense. I mean, there's nothing happening up here, and might as well make a trip out of it for Zola because Zola's hour and a half northeast of me, and Elizabethtown's not a short drive.
No, it was not a short drive for us. I mean, it's our home state. I think it took us 2 hours to get to Elizabethtown.
From your house or
Mine.
oh, yeah.
Every bit of 2 hours. But yeah, there's a lot of really, really cool and plentiful videos coming from Elizabethtown. I can't say thank you to my girlfriend enough for being out there with me. It was cold and windy, but we stuck it out. We had I guarantee we had over 100, if not close to 75.
I'm sorry you haven't experienced real cold yet till you live in the north. But just saying, we'll move on.
It was windy.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we stuck her out.
Yeah. It's good to see that. I think the Bewley family deserve that, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Battle of Bluegrass and Mid-South, he was kind of well-known player in the game. And
yeah.
Kind of need that showing of his former competitors.
Yeah, and I mean, they had both of their tractors out there, too, the Mini Mo and the John Deere ain't misbehaving. I mean, we want to talk about some more of that pool. There were light limited supers I've never laid eyes on, much less be able to watch them outdoors. But hang on, y'all. We just had a very special guest pop in. I messaged him today, and he said he was popping in. And here he is. Cody Vanderholm has decided to join us tonight. How are you, buddy?
I don't know if I'd call special.
Yeah, you are. This is the first one of these you've got to be on with us. Time's actually allowed for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been busy. So
yeah, you've been on the road a lot.
Yes, sir, I have. Been an hour and a half from your house, actually.
Yeah, no, you sent me a picture going through Louisville. I'm like, hey man, just turn around and come back the other way.
Yeah, he went through before Wagler's. He went right through Dubuque and it just sent me a picture of the bridge. It was like, I'm here.
Well, like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, some of us have shit to do. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was in class, so
yeah. No, it's been busy, but glad for the invite to jump on here and hang out with you guys for the night.
Yeah, man, you've been doing some cool things outside of here too with your drones and all that stuff flying. Kind of tell us a little bit about that because I think that's really, really cool.
I will say I like that drone semi photo was creative.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so I love long exposures, and I got in a deal that I started doing long exposures. And I was like, this weekend I had some projects I was working on and some stuff that guys were like, hey, I need you to come fly for me. And I was sitting there and I talked to Brent Roberts. I was like, hey, I'm gonna come fly for you. He's like, okay, that's fine. And when I got there, they're like, well, we don't have everything quite, squared away. But Corey is like, Brent never told us anything. And so it was kind of funny. But when it came down to it, it was like, well, I've got an idea. I was like, can you pull a semi out there? And Corey's like, yeah, absolutely. And of course, Brent's like, hey, if you want to pull that semi out there and take a picture, like, yeah, do whatever you need to do. It's like, okay, well, so I had Corey come out there and he pulled the semi out there. And when it came down to it, I was like, here's what I want to do. And he's like, okay, cool. And Corey was a great, I guess, photography assistant. And I told him when to, I had a remote trigger and he was able to click the button. And when I told him to stop, he stopped and we made something work. But yeah, that photo turned out pretty good. So it was fun.
Yeah, man, I saw that and I'm trying to get it to load up now. I can't get it to load.
Now, you tried that once with a tractor once, didn't you? Was it Ruiz?
No. So the first, So the very first time I did that with long exposure was actually my pickup out in a cornstalk field. The second time was actually Holzhauer's new Pro Stock.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Holzhauer.
Yep. And the third time would have been Brent Roberts semi. So there's always things you can learn about doing stuff different or whatnot. And Brent's got some really bright chicken lights, so it makes it really hard, to be able to make sure that you're getting everything lit up, and that makes a challenge. In all things considered, it makes it a challenge for when you're coming to take pictures and do a long exposure, because that's something quite unique and different than most people have. So
yeah, that right there is it on the screen, dude.
Zoom in on that.
That's so cool.
Or click on it, one of the two.
See if I can't make it a little bit bigger for the people.
There you go. Zoom in on that one.
Yeah. How's that look?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was it's a learning process. There's always things you can change, and when you're in the photography business, you learn and grow every single day. So there's stuff I would do different, change, all the above type of thing. But when you're just kind of like a spur of the moment, like, hey, let's do this. And they're like, absolutely. And you're just kind of grateful for them to take the time to move the semi out in the middle of nowhere and allow you to kind of just do whatever. B, for them to actually have somebody that do it. Cause that's the other thing that, when you're doing it by yourself, it's really, really hard to do some of the stuff that, but I mean, that the semi, when it's painted with a drone and lights off the drone to light that up, that's a complete different story. So it makes it a lot of fun when you get guys that were willing to slow down, help, and do some of that stuff. So the fun part of that is like it's a Peterbilt semi and an EB trailer, and both of them, they like the photo type thing. EB wants to put it in their calendar for next year, which that's a whole nother deal. But it's a lot of fun to do stuff like that. That's it's unique. It's something that no one else is doing. And then I've kind of fallen in love with long exposure photos, and that makes it a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
How much work did you have to put into editing it and all that? How long ago was that picture taken, I guess, is the bigger question.
Sunday night.
Oh.
At like 9-ish o'clock. No, it was probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock on Sunday night, because I was home by like 9:30. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I just want to leave that up there for people to look at whenever they jump on the screen. Hopefully they'll draw their eye to it.
Yeah. So Brent, like he's kind of fallen into this where he's like building semis that not usually like his cup of tea, I guess you could call it, but he's kind of grown into this where he builds some spectacular semis, and that's the one thing. Like looking back at it, and things I would change is the frame on that thing is like a teal green. It is so cool to look at, but you don't really see a whole lot of it. You see a little bit in the front of the trailer there, but you don't see a whole lot of that. But the lights of the I call them chicken lights, but the chicken lights are so bright that it's so hard to, look at that and see that, and see that green with the chicken lights lit up. So it changes a lot of things when you're, doing different subjects, different stuff that you're going on. So it's always, like I said, it's a learning process. You learn every day. So it was fun.
Yeah. Now you said Brett Roberts, right?
Yep.
Same Brett Roberts that pulls, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
He had, so Brent Roberts had the faster horses that sold to James Deverman. And then he runs the semis for the Outlaws. So
okay.
Yep. So they live
Gotcha.
a little bit over an hour from my house. And I mean, like I said, they've got a long history in the pulling world. So
yeah.
But it's kind of graduated from one thing to the next. And, Brent used to run 2.6 trucks back in the day, and graduated in the 4.1s and 4.1 tractors into the semis now. So it's a lot of fun to see that type of thing and see his progression, from what he used to do to full time to what he does now full time. So it's pretty unique.
Yeah, it is. I bet that takes up a lot of his time too.
Yeah. I mean, they're not just farming; they're doing transport. I mean, they're hauling some heavy loads here and there. So it's fun to see some of that stuff that they're doing, from what they used to be doing. So it's kind of unique.
Yeah. Well, we're going to leave that up on screen right now. And we're going to kind of move into one of the first things that was on our agenda that we posted that we were going to go over, and that was the NTPA rule changes that have come into effect for 2024. There were some, I would say, some eye openers, but then there were some ones that were kind of not so much as a surprise, I would say.
We had avoided. I think the last show we didn't even talk about them, and
I don't think they were out yet.
We talked about the proposals, I think, just a little bit, but we had never really gone into depth about it.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here on my side. I mean, is there any particular one you want to start with?
No, I just run down the list.
Light limited supers, besides corrections for 2023 rules. Light limited supers limit all diesel engines to 3.4 by 4-inch smooth bore, including those engine sizes that allow 2 turbos. Use of a 3.0 by 4-inch turbo with map ring is no longer allowed.
Cody, are you going to Shipshawana, the January one?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you do, you're going to hear all the gripe about this one.
Yeah, my goal is to, but I mean, we all know the full-time job feeds the hobbies. So
right.
We'll see, but it's been a whirlwind of activities here in the last 45 days, the way it is.
Yeah.
And we'll see what the winter has.
Yeah, and it's only going to get even busier because what's it like down there? Is it like right in the middle of corn, beans, both kind of?
Yeah, but not living in the precision ag world anymore, it makes a big difference. I live in the facility maintenance world, so everything from disaster recovery to facility maintenance. So if there's a hurricane that hits in Florida, I'm there. In the last 45 days, I've been from Florida to Georgia to New Mexico, Texas, Wisconsin, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Illinois, Louisville, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio in the last 45 days.
Sheesh.
So that's a big thing. Is like, it can change on a heartbeat type of thing. Of I can get a phone call today at noon and say, hey, I need you to be on a plane in 2 hours. So I would like to go to Shipshawana, and that's on the plans. But that doesn't always mean that's going to happen at this point. So
right.
But Shipshawana and Louisville, they're kind of the next two on my docket. PRI is the other one that I'd like to really kind of focus on. I know I got to be in Houston the end of the month type of thing. We'll kind of see from there.
PRI would be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, so there's no shortage of things to do and go see. When we talk about rule changes and stuff like that, we're looking at a bunch of different stuff that can make a difference in a class. When it talks to chargers, to frames, to any of that stuff, like that's a big deal. I know one of the things was mini rods, changing the hitch height on mini rods, and I'll be honest, I told Shane I'm behind. I don't know if they're behind or not, or where they're at with that, but they were talking about lowering the hitch height on a mini rod. That can make a huge difference in that class. And what we saw in the last year, that can make a big difference in that class. You don't think a half-inch makes a big difference, but just kind of watch and see. So
you see, and that goes in half-inch can be variable depending on what class you're referencing. Like mini rod, huge difference. Half-inch makes a huge difference. Our class, barely none at all. So it's
Right.
on how you take it, what you mean, and how you take it as the competitor.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
a lot of what I'm seeing on the rules is basically with turbocharger limits. I know I've seen light limited super pro 5.0s, light pro, all have something to do with turbocharger limits.
Yeah. Uh, the 5.0 class did get approved for regional national level, so that's no longer on the trial basis like it was for this year.
Which I expected it to.
Yeah,
Once it
I
got proposed last year, I expected it to be a regional class after a
yeah,
year.
but I mean, I think this coming year for 2024, I think you're going to see numbers kind of grow for it. I mean, we've already seen going into Shipshawan, we've already got two big, one big pro, and then there's another one that's on the way. That's I don't want to say step down, but has gone 5.0. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but they did remove Weimer as the only supplier of the Pro Stock 5.0 Charger to this class. So my question is what does that mean across? Because Weimer is the one who supplies the turbos for the Outlaws too, right?
Yep.
So I mean, what is that going to do to the crossover possibility? Because I know the Canes went and ran Outlaw over in Missouri along with Wrapped Up with Vengeance. So I mean, what does that do, and what does that mean? Do you guys think?
They had a lot more Charger on too. So what's the difference? My thing on it is just if you're a turbocharger maker, Hearts, Apex,
Weimer,
Colberg, if you want to, Hyper, just match the box turbo and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But to Shane's point, to the crossover part is like, the outlaw rule reads, if I'm not mistaken, is a Weimer 5.0 Charger.
Right.
So from that standpoint, is like you're going to run a 5.0 Charger type of thing. If you're going to run an Apex or you're going to run any of those other guys stuff, like that becomes a challenge of you're kind of cornering yourself into that Charger standpoint of that point. Good or bad, maybe that changes. I mean, we look at the Outlaw Banquets coming up here in
that's just what I was
November.
fixing to bring up. Is that
So-
hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. So I mean, like that's when they talk about the rules, some of the rule changes. That may be something that actually changes. But yeah, Andy's spot on. Outlaws have to change the rule to any 5-inch supplier. That's something that needs to be discussed because
But will they is the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to the class, and when it comes down to it, it's boiled down to the class. The class has a conversation, they talk to the representative, and that brings it to the board. That's how that works.
Mhm.
When it's all said and done, if you're talking, any of those guys, I'll take Apex because it's one of the easiest ones to remember. It starts with an A, but you take Apex and they build a 5.0 Charger. Great. It works with Ntpa. They can't go run with Outlaws because it's a different Charger. So that becomes a challenge that, it comes into. Does it take a year or two maybe to get that sorted out? Potentially. But I'd like to see that, I'll be honest, I'm a photographer. I like to see all sorts of shit come into our neck of the woods and start pulling because it's different than what we get to see every day. So if you can take a 5.0 that runs with Ntpa and bring it into the Outlaws, cool. I'm all for it. And that's, that it goes back to unifying the rules. So I'm all for it.
Right. But doesn't this kind of defeat, I don't want to say defeats the purpose, but whenever they came out with the box charger rule, that's kind of going away from that now, isn't it?
Not if they're building a turbo within specs of the box charger.
It's just the manufacturers is the only difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I got you. Let's see. Moving on from 5.0, that's the one I was really, really excited to talk about. Hot Farm engine cylinder head must be OEM style. Recast cylinder heads allowed. OEM stock dimensions, the height, the width, and the length must be retained. No billet heads.
I find it funny that is a proposed rule in that class and not in Super Farm because you would think it would come to a more you would think it would come on a Grand National class faster than it would come to a
Yeah, that's a
regional
fair
class.
point. Yeah.
Which I don't know.
I don't either. Not having one. What does Scruball say? Yeah.
You see, I agree on that one.
Do what?
I see his point on that one because
I do too.
you can call this the same thing for Super Farm, 4-1, Light Pro, Pro Stock, all the way up. It's a cost driver.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'll take this for example. In Super Farm, say there's one turbo brand that costs $5,800 for this newest turbo. There's one that's costing $12,000. So it's the same one. It's just a different manufacturer, and it's just a little difference, and it's just going to make you drive up costs because of competition. It's just
right.
That's where this Rule 5.0 could get really stupid really quick.
Right. Diesel Superstock. This was one that kind of caught my eye, but I kind of had a feeling it was coming because of what we've seen over the last 2 years. Engines using a steel oil pan are exempt from pressure burst / relief device requirement in Diesel Superstock Division once found device type and specs are implemented. We've been blowing some oil pans out here over the last couple of summers. It's starting to get to that point where that's kind of a necessity, I think.
Yeah, there's been several in the Diesel Super World that have kind of blown that pan off, but we're chasing horsepower. Let's be honest. We're chasing horsepower. We're some of that, huh?
I said, isn't everybody?
Right, but I'm saying that's the, if you're looking at it, that's the baddest of the bad class, and we're chasing horsepower. Something's got to give. I mean, at some point, something's got to give, and so if it's the oil pan, it's the oil pan. I'm just saying.
And I like this comment. I like the comment I got recently about this, and I asked this Bowling Green with someone who actually did it, and I asked Jacob Belfance. I said, what's going to come next for you? He said either a catch device or we just keep the same pans on, because in my opinion, he goes, I'd rather leave it on the ground than have the pressure not go out the bottom and start building towards the top.
Yep.
He goes, it's safe. He said it's safer for me to blow all my oil on the wall than blow my head into the stands.
Right, and he did that TPC too. He did
it twice.
TPC. So
I did it twice.
When it's said and done, I'm like, horsepower goes somewhere. It's either going to go down the track or it's going to end up on the track. So there's your two options.
I don't even know how many have done it. I know Belfance did it twice with 2 different tractors. Travis did it twice, and then Colin did it twice.
Yeah. Well, that's the only major thing for that class that came out. But the mini rods are next, and man, it just seems like it was rough all the way around for mini rods, as far as whenever they got wild. It seems like we were having guys really getting their cage rattled this year. I mean, it's just fact of the matter. I mean, how many times do we see it at Bowling Green? 3, I think.
1, 2.
Miller, Corporal. There was one more. I can't remember who it was.
See, and that's where I'm surprised none of the safety device things came in the rule. I mean,
but then again, we don't fully know what was proposed to that either. There was nothing that we saw about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Hans device was proposed.
It was. There's guys using it, but Charles said this too. He said the way that they move isn't the way that Hans device is designed.
Nope, it's not. But I mean, it was proposed from that aspect. That's one thing that they talked about. Of the Hans device is kind of more of a straight line type of thing. In those mini rods, they're not in a straight line. Mm-hmm. But it's something to think about.
Yeah, but they have come up with a front skid plate to be configured according to the dimensions on the drawings. Tow hitch placed minimum of 7.5 inches from the ground. Skid to extend rearward to center of front axle. Bottom of the skid plate to be below bottom of front rim, and the driver's feet must be placed inside the main frame of the rails while competing under green flag in many divisions at all levels. I don't really know who that affects too much besides it. Slaw?
There's
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, there's more than just them, but
There's 5. There's 2 Slaw minis, Dick Storeholder, Kevin Hill, and there's one other one. There's more than just Slaw.
Is it Backdraft maybe?
No.
It's is it not? Is it Tim Ray?
No, Tim's legal.
yeah.
There's somebody. It's somebody up there in that part.
I give it
Up
to
around
Tyler.
that Michigan, Ohio area. I can't remember who it is.
I give it to Tyler and Bruce. Like they're driving the
They're
biggest,
gutsy.
baddest motorcycle, two-wheeler, like bicycle, whatever you want to call it, of anybody. Because like outside the frame rails, like that's some different level. I mean, that's different level. I mean, I don't know what you call it.
That's open yourself up territory pretty much there.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's worked for them. The design has worked for
Right.
them, though, too, sitting that far forward in the seat. It's just not something I would do. But, I mean, if I get in, my legs are already going to be on top of the blower anyway. So
I don't even. It's that, Tyler's not a small guy by any means. I mean,
No.
he's fairly tall. I don't even think it's the that far in the seat. I think it's more it's outside the frame rails type of thing. And like, I mean, they're sitting, they're riding Harley pegs essentially. And for me, like that makes me cringe a little bit. And I give it to them props because like I couldn't do that. I'd be Adam Kessler. I'd be inside of a Shield and I'd be riding that. And at that point, I would drive a Mini. I would love that. But as far as outside the frame rails without any protection, probably not happening. So
no,
it's one of those things. But again, like your 2,050 pounds for a Mini, they're Bruce and Tyler and them guys are gonna have to figure that out. Of how do we make weight, but yet keep inside the frame rails.
Yeah,
they're just gonna have to go and just move the gauge back and they'll make do. They have before. I mean, they've ran minis that have sat in the back and they're within the frame rails. They've ran them before. Yeah. It's nothing new. So
yeah, I'll tell you another one.
Just move the pegs inside the frame rails. It's fine. It's 6 inches closer on each side to the drive shaft. It's fine.
Just make little socks on inside the frame rails. Just stick your feet straight down and just like move them forward, slide it forward.
Yep.
Right. Grand National Modified turbine engines allow turbine engines up to a combined maximum of 9,450 horsepower is rated NTPA pulling rules. Does that open
NTPA just allow them? I'm not saying they're behind. It's just as Outlaws light modified classes, it's something different and it's cool.
Yeah,
like Bargie's
I think that lines up more with the European style, though, of how much horsepower they're allowed to have. I think
you can still make a whole lot of horsepower let's say modified, with Tommy Owens making with 314s. You're still making a whole lot of horsepower with them.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'm just saying
the 314s are probably close to 10,000.
Yeah, you're right. But I think it's good that they're opening up a little bit.
Now it's time for the light mods.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah. I don't think there's anything in here. Light super maximum weight limit was increased to 6,300 pounds.
That
SFI 47.2 roll cage spec. Light pros limit the turbocharger intake compressor to 5 inches and retain the existing 4.5 exhaust wheel. 2.6 class is regional national as approved by on rules based on WTPA actually.
Cody, is there much of a 2.6 presence out in the Outlaws in Western Iowa, or is it like a lot of 3.0?
Outlaws don't have a 2.6 class. 2.6 class is pretty strong still in some of the like you call them state associations, but like around here, there's a lot of 2.6 trucks. I mean, you'll get anywhere from, I don't know, 12 to 20 probably. But
geez.
Outlaws don't have a 2.6 class. They have a 3.0 class. They just brought it back this last year. But before that, they didn't. I mean, yeah. So I mean, the local stuff around here, we've got a pretty good strong 2.6 class. And again, I'm close to Missouri. They've got a huge following in Missouri of 2.6, but as far as Outlaws, they don't have a 2.6 class.
Yeah. Do we want to get into the competition part of it, of not disrupting the points chases and everything? Or do we just kind of want to wait and see how that shakes out and like what system they put in place?
Well, Cody, do you have any clue what this rule was implemented? What it means?
I told Shane I didn't have any idea what.
I'll read it.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
So, and this has a lot to do with the bigger events at the end of the year with NTPA. We've seen in Bowling Green,
2-wheelers, 4-wheelers, minis, and pro stocks mainly.
It's anything after Chapel Hill is what they're addressing. Napoleon was one of them. Bowling Green. They may even consider Sandwich, but so under points competition, Section A. Purpose is to eliminate disruption to points division chase. It's not finalized yet. It's to be implemented to limit negative impact on those chasing a points championship at the Grand National level with any class exceeding 25 entries. They want to group Grand National competitors or classes with Grand National licenses together to minimize negative effect from changes in track conditions. Divisions affecting most two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, mini, pro stock. I will also put in their super farms because it happens there too.
Bowling Green's kind of on that cusp anymore, though, about as far as that goes.
It's anything. Let me just say, it's anything in the afternoon or very first class at night.
Yeah.
We don't need to be, going with just like politically correct here. I'm going to say it. The rule is garbage. It's bad. You're basically saying that the regional guys that come shouldn't even come because they have no chance against the Grand National guys. There's regional guys that whoop Grand National guys some days. So that's the point of the luck of the draw. I mean, it happens Outlaws too. I mean,
yeah,
Outlaws, PPL, anywhere you go. I mean, it's the point.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I understand the purpose as to why they're doing it, but I don't know. I want to wait and see how the system shakes out. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no.
I'm saying no just because it takes away the luck of the draw. I mean, regional guys deserve to be there as much as the Grand National guys do.
Yeah, you're right. They do.
So
you're absolutely right.
Let's be honest, it affects maybe one pole, two poles, maybe. It's just Bowling Green.
Are you talking about Toma and Bowling Green?
Not even Toma. It's mainly because Toma's got other poles to affect it. Bowling Green, Napoleon don't have anything.
Yeah,
that's why you have such a large presence in those classes. Bowling Green, it's 62 wheel drives this year.
Yeah. I wanted to go back and look and see. Talking about Toma, I want to see how many pro stocks they had show up to Toma. I know how many four-wheel drives they had show up to Toma this year.
Pro stocks? It's 20. I want to say 24. Could be very well wrong. I don't even know if we had that many.
So that falls right underneath that rule, though. Like just beneath it. So, I mean, it wouldn't go into effect.
The only class that you made minis, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, and technically super farm.
When did they run? Session 3, I assume?
Yes. Pro stocks
Pro stocks had, it looks like, well, they had more than 16, I know. They had 21 registered for that. let's see what else we got here. Superfarm Region 3, not relevant. Nothing else for Session 3. But maybe you're right on the Toma thing. But I really thought we had more than that.
It says it right in the section here. Procedure will be adopted to begin the first Grand National points events after Chapel Hill.
Yeah, but I mean, there were 32 full drives sitting there at Toma. So, I mean, that's kind of what it's for. So, I mean, we'll just...
If you want to go back to, if you watch the session, for even Mick when you won it, the track didn't change that much.
Charles, are you free? I know you've got the link.
Anyway, we're moving on.
Nah, if Charles comes on, we'll save that for later if he pops in, because I kind of want to hear what he has to say on it.
But I think we've gone over pretty much what we need to do.
That was everything I wanted to touch on. What's left? OD, your NHRA stuff. Go for it.
Yeah, and I think this could flip over to even what Cody like tomorrow's interview, what you guys are doing.
Yeah, no kidding.
The first one, I'm not even going to start with ODSS. I'm going to start with a friend of your guest tomorrow night. Before I get into countdown stuff, there was on October 6th last week, Spencer Hyde, the World Series of Pro Model winner, will get his first chance at an NHRA event in Pomona, which, what a race to make your debut at.
Yeah.
Elite Motorsports is going to have him as their top fuel driver, which Elite Motorsports is the biggest racing team in the NHRA, and they just got bigger. So I messaged
who it is.
I messaged Spencer when this article came out that he was going to race in Pomona. I said this is going to be awesome, because when I saw him win the World Series of Pro Mod, was it February? That we know he can drive, but he'll be competitive. Elite Motorsports is always good.
Cody, your picture's going away. All four of us are in here. I want to see what this is going to look like here. Here we go.
The picture.
There you
go.
go.
Like the picture, we just have people.
Yeah. Charles.
How are you guys doing?
Great.
I'm surprised
I
you're
want to
even
hear
alive
this.
with how busy you are.
I think this is I would not want to be the individual who has to decide what this is going to look like and what the triggering events are going to be for this sort of schedule. It's absolutely garbage. For the entirety of this sport's existence, you've had to beat the people you've had to beat. And you need to take responsibility for that and understand the consequences of the shows you choose to enter, and do your job and be better than anybody else. I want to propose something to you when it comes to this from another side. When it comes to regional, national, or state level events, all of those competitors have had to accept the idea the Grand National competitor can show up to one of their events because it was legal for them to do so and beat their ass into the dirt at one of their own events, screw up the track, do all the things that everyone is accusing the big shows of doing, and they had to just take it. That's not fair.
Yep.
The NTPA relies upon the membership of all those state level people, all those regional level people, all those Grand National people. And you're going to sit there and say that the Grand National people are so sacred. They're so important that they get special treatment, but you're not going to also offer it to the regional and the state level guys in the reverse. This is a mistake, and it's going to blow up in their face. It's going to be really bad. I don't like this one.
So can I offer a counter argument to that, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
If they're showing up to a regional national event, they have the Grand National license. They can't mess up the points race for it.
They can't, and you're right. In every single case, there is, and you can see that in the. We can go to this year's Bowling Green results sheet and see who's got what license.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what I think this is about, because those guys know that. It's about what's being done to the track. Is it getting torn up? Is it something to the facility? And like I don't get the same conditions for guy number 34 versus guy number 2. It's honestly bullshit, and I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I got a big problem with it. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work out to the advantage that those who want it to have or they're not going to get the result they want. And in the end, everybody's going to wind up pissed off. And for the guys who are announcers at events like this, where this is going to get triggered, God help you. How do you explain what's going to happen next to the crowd there? This is a bad move. This is a bad move.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it from the announcer's perspective either. I don't know how you explain that. I really don't.
Well, we've seen this in years past, and we've had it where come from the super farm side. It's happened before, but you got to deal with it. I mean, that's the luck of the draw. I mean, it's the whole of it. We've been on the good side of it. We've been on the bad side of it. We don't need any special treatment to those who think it needs to be in their favor because, it screws it up. It's pulling.
Yeah, the point structure is already there. If you buy the license for regional or state level, then you're not affecting points for Grand National. That's never been a thing. It just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bridge too far. I'm not.
I even said it's bullcrap. So.
All right. That was my piece. I'm out.
Hang on. I want you to get into this one real fast.
Okay. Heats or flights. No, we're not going to get stupid. No.
That's bit. Isn't that
I
kind of
I don't know how that would work.
Isn't that kind of what that rule implementation was doing? Just kind of putting them in flights but no finals.
Come on. We're not dirt track racing or doing any of that crap. We're sled pulling. The points is what the points is. You show up, you hook, you run your event, and come on. Let's not make this overly complicated. That's not okay. No. That's not a solution to the problem. And there really wasn't a problem until one was created.
Mm-hmm.
And it was created out of these rules meetings.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Charles,
Anyway,
you jumping on real fast.
I think we need to go back to the racing side of it because we haven't covered anything yet on there.
Yeah, I know. Charles, you've got a heck of a guest coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, we do.
And her best friend from Canada is going to do some Top Fuel shit.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Sweet.
Wait.
Anyway.
All right.
You can stay if you want. Otherwise, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm out. Be good,
See
guys.
you, buddy.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
All right. Well, I think we should go on with the other motorsport we should go.
Wyatt, you go back doing what you're doing. That happened. I didn't know he was actually home to be able to jump on.
Mick, we have Matty Graves on tomorrow night.
Yeah,
who
Matty
we've got on
Graves could be
tomorrow.
on sidetrack tomorrow night.
Yep.
So before Shied, she was the fastest, and then Cordova just went. Phew!
It's not even shy. It was last weekend.
Yeah, Wagglers.
Michael Cordova.
Oh,
at
sorry.
Wagglers.
Wagglers Fall Nationals.
Yep, at Wagler Fall Nationals. Yeah, but she is still the fastest diesel woman in the nation. So I mean,
That class is going to get even cooler next year with more races and more competitors.
There's a lot of people talking about building cars that vehicles, whatever you want to call them, that are competitive in that class, and I'm excited. But yeah, we'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Yeah. You guys make sure to tune in to Sidetrack tomorrow night. Cody, what time do y'all roll?
7:30
Y'all roll
Central.
7:30 tomorrow night? Okay.
7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
Yeah, that'll be so awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's. I think the diesel side of it doesn't get as much hype and
No.
coverage as it should, because what they're doing is utterly absurd. It's crazy what's happening.
Yeah.
From what Firepunk did a couple years ago with the S10 to what's going on now, it's nuts. So, anyway, we'll continue on the races part of it. I did cover, as I said before, Spencer Hyde, World Series of Pro Mod Racer winner, is going to run Top Fuel Promote at the World Finals. But we'll go on to the actual standings portion of it. We're right in the heart of the NHRA countdown to the championship. 3 races out of the 6 are done. They just finished in St. Louis last week. And I don't know if you guys, either one of you, pays attention or keeps up with it as much as I do on the NHRA portion of it. But it's been quite an eventful countdown so far.
Yeah.
So
NASCAR is right in the heat of their playoffs too. They're in the round of 8, I think.
Which
I think it kicks off this weekend. I forget where they're at this weekend.
What do they call playoffs? Might I ask?
Because of the point system they have. It's not just a straight system. They've got the round of 16, round of 12, round of 8. And the last race of the year, there's 4 of them, and whoever finishes the highest wins the championship.
This will be the first time on air, but I cannot watch NASCAR. I'm sorry.
Fair, very fair, because I can't really do it either.
I can't watch the whole thing. I tuned in with about 20 to go.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm watching some racing, it's IMSA or Formula One.
Yeah, you and your Formula One stuff.
Dude, I'm telling you,
Max Verstappen.
He's on a winning streak. I mean,
is he really?
Say?
There's like 6 races left in the season. He's got the title clinched.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like you talk about like Andretti coming in as a potential like another 11th team, because there are only 10 teams, and Mario Andretti coming in as the 11th team, like that's huge.
Andretti's coming into NASCAR too, I think. With Spire Motorsports, maybe.
Again,
I'm just saying Andretti's in multiple places.
Yeah, but like coming into Formula One, like that's huge. Like 11th team, and it's potential for that. I mean, we're at the time of the year where there's a lot of driver changes, and potential of what's going to change. Daniel Ricciardo, I mean, he broke his hand. He was in an accident and broke his hand, and so like looking at some of that, what's changed potentially, but. Justin's comment. Yes, I 100% agree. I'm sorry. I can't. I just can't. But
I don't think NASCAR actually lets the drivers do what they really want or need to do. And
if you watch Days of Thunder, it's not NASCAR. It's not NASCAR. It's really not. So I don't know. I want to watch something that has a little bit more like, I don't know, like customer appeal. I guess I don't know what you call it, but like spectator appeal. You pick your poison. But I'm looking at like the potential of Formula One. I'll say it every time. If you have not watched the Netflix series Drive to Survive, go watch it.
I still haven't had a chance to watch that.
Go watch that. Do it because it is one of the most well-produced shows I've ever watched. It doesn't matter what team is your favorite. Like they make you cheer for every single individual that they're highlighting, and it's so well produced. The camera angles, everything that they've done for that is fantastic. So if you're any type of motorsports fan, I don't care if you watch NASCAR. That's my bit. Go watch that because it is so great.
You've been on to me for I don't know how long to watch that, and I just haven't taken the time to do it.
And to Dustin's comment of I like late model dirt track racing, that's great. But there's so many of those going on. It's hard to keep track of every single one of those in every event. I live really close to the Corning dirt track racing, ACS Racing. It's a good track, but it's so hard to keep up and track with all that and everything else going on. It just Charles. Yes. Yeah. It just it's so different than it was. Yeah, and World of Outlaws is good too, but it's just, gosh dang, I've got so little time to keep track of everything the way it is, and I've kind of chosen my sports of it's pulling, it's Formula One, and it's ODSS. So I mean those are the three that I live in right now, and I do a little bit drag racing, but that it's so minute.
Charles, save it for the not the 18th, but the 21st. I think it is 25th. Save it for the 25th.
Yeah, but it is fun. I mean, the thing with the Formula One, a lot of guys get mad about Formula One is they've got they've got a budget to spend and all that stuff, but it's capped. Like they have to realize that you can't spend that much on I don't know, fried shrimp, whatever that the orders is. But you've got to keep that capped for that food to stay within that budget. And that's one of those things of it's a whole different world that we live in. Is we go to a pole, we grill steaks, we grill, sirloins, whatever it is, like it's a whole different game. But those guys have to keep it to a number level because that is what their cap is. And it's one of those deals of, they got a bigger budget to spend, but they have a budget. And saying within that budget, it's a different world. So I don't know. That's one of the worlds I live in, right or wrong, whatever. But it's a lot of fun to, every Sunday it's recorded. If I can't make it, I watch it.
And that's the same thing with me. I mean, polling's my number one, what I watch the most, but I live with NHRA.
Yeah.
These two together. Oh, geez. Yeah. But guys, this is the part of the show too that we want to have an open forum. You guys ask any questions that you guys want to do.
Boy, they're just lighting each other up now, aren't they?
We need to get these two on a show, and one of us is the moderator.
Wyatt, let's talk about NHRA. St. Louis, that left lane. Oh my God, that couldn't get any traction. But
if you want to talk about something that will change a track, not even pulling, that's what you talk about. That's called screwing up a point system.
But I tell you what, the left lane, there's some guys that just in girls that made it work. In the groove, out of the groove, whatever. They made it work. And
you had to drive it to a certain groove. It'll go right down the track.
You had to pedal that, and it was interesting, gosh, I mean, I've slept since then, but the somebody that didn't have the chute open on the right lane, that was,
green?
I honestly, like you said, I've slept.
I know what you're talking about.
But they in their right lane, they had the chute open. It deployed on the starting line at 60 feet. That made a huge difference. But when you're looking at the track and what makes a difference, that left lane had problems the entire finals. It was hot. It was good track type of thing. The right lane, if I had lane choice, I'd pick the right track. I don't care who you are. I'd pick the right track.
And I think for the later rounds, the left lane was going to be it, though, just because how hot it was. It made it better because it cooled it down.
No, I still would have chose the right lane.
Yeah.
So if you're out of the groove, out of the oil, whatever it was on the track type of thing, that right lane, it was money. So You had to be the perfect spot every time, and you had to rely on the crew that's helping you get lined up. You had to be on point of making sure your shifts and not blowing the tires out. It was critical. Like you had to have a perfect run in the left lane to make that work. And the right lane, like you could have an all right run and still make that work. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I give kudos to the people that tune them, at least the top fuel funding cars and dragsters, that the amount of clutch application that had to be thought into that to not overslip the clutch to blow tires off or rattle the tires off.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Those guys don't get enough. Like there's one thing to driving, there's a whole nother thing to tuning, and it's those two work so hand in hand together. It's different than everything else. I mean, we talk about pulling a lot, but you pull and you find out where you're at and tuning and whatever. But those guys that are running that drag strip is so critical on the tuning side of things more than the pulling in my aspect. And it's you gotta, like Wyatt said, you gotta have an appreciation for those guys.
Yeah, that's why I find such an interest in this, because it's such an instantaneous amount of ground shaking power and what you're trying to corral in that entire wheelbase. It's baffling what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's I don't even know where to start on it. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
but kudos to the guys that are in that do that.
We talk on the pulling side of how do you put the power to the ground. I mean, we blow the tires off, all that stuff. It's okay. I mean, you look at from the top fuel side, Wyatt, and you look at the what they're doing of how do we not burn the tires out to where we make a solid pass, and it's how do we correlate the two together to make we're not burning the tires off, but we're making a solid pass. And that's so critical because drag strips are mainly consistent. Like they know they have asphalt, they know they have traction, they know have this. When you talk about a pulling track, you're talking about something completely different. You have tons of different tracks. The dirt's different, the makeup of the dirt's different, the moisture in the dirt. Like there's so many different variables when you're talking about that it's so.
Your track builder's different. The application of the water during the show is different.
The air bars of the sled are different.
First hook to last hook. I mean, there's so many different variables, and it makes it that much more competitive when you're talking about that from a pulling perspective, that you're not running on the same track that everybody else is.
They changes from hook to hook.
I mean, it depends on what sled you have too, because there are sleds out. There's no sled out there that hooks the same.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, no. I mean, you can have one that's really heavy and hard to get moving, then you have one that you can get moving pretty easy, and that can be just as hurtful.
Yep. It doesn't matter which class it is. They can. I talk to pullers, and they're like, we love this sled because it's a gradual smooth. It's a smooth pass. You talk to the next guy, and they're like, we hate the sled because the sled they like to hammer on it, and then it's like it's a hard pull the entire way, and that's. Honestly, that's hard on equipment, but that's the way that sled operates. So when you're looking at that from a standpoint of, like Charles said, power management, it's a huge thing of how do you tune that thing differently from one pass to the next when you got different sleds, you get different tracks, and you got tons of different stuff.
And that's where, and that's where it's different with it goes from top fuel on down. When do we throw it in? You have that 1,000-foot. Where do we time it in?
Right.
All you have to do is go that far and just get it to the ground and just go in a straight line. Pulling, it's the way you manage it is just.
You could have to cross track it. You can have to ride it out X amount of feet and then get off the clutch. And I mean, it changes. It really does. Yep. But I mean, you want to talk about going back to the sled thing? I'm one of those that likes a smoother stop. I'm not crazy about just getting smacked. But
and everybody else, I'm sorry. You and everybody else.
It hurts. I mean,
It does.
it straight up hurts us as drivers in the seat. I mean, that's not me complaining about it, but I mean, it's a thing. I mean,
But
it just
that's
you
I had
get
one of
hit,
those.
buddy.
I had one of those whacking sleds. I didn't feel it, so that just could have been me.
There's been one that I've felt it, and I was kind of like, oof, okay, we're here.
Anyway,
yeah.
We're going off on tangents. Good grief.
Anyway. Well,
Yeah, our open forum part of it.
Gerbaugh's comment there, keep that in mind because I will address that.
Yeah, Jay Cox from Nitrous Pro Mod Racing as a driver, major personality and major competitor will be missed greatly.
Anyway,
Yep.
we'll cover that. I got two things to cover here between point standings and a past event with Jay Cox. So
yeah, we probably need to speed up just a smidge.
So, well, yeah, I think like you said, St. Louis was just a points. It was a game changer because there's a difference between. I'll start with Pro Stock Motorcycle here. Angie Smith got hurt. Prayers up to her, but having her not in the race anymore, you go from a 6-horse race down to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, it's 4-horse race for second place.
And you bring out Matt with the Buell. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's Suzuki sponsored and brings out the Buell. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, but going off the point standings, and off what the season's told, I don't think anybody. I think Matt's gonna be run for second place in points. I don't think nobody's gonna catch Gage unless something catastrophic happens.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out of the 12 races they've had this year, he's had 10 number 1 qualifiers.
Yeah.
NHRA Camping World Series, the top series, it's just unheard of. But motorcycles is a little different ballgame than any of the rest of the classes. Pro Stock, Eric Enders, points leader. She didn't win St. Louis, but Elite Motorsports represented handily. I think she'll have the lead going into Pomona if nothing messes up. She's been very consistent. Her and Greg Anderson's caught his groove back. He'll be dangerous going down the line here. He's got 25 points to catch up on, but he's got to keep doing what he's doing if he wants to catch her. So, and yeah. I think we moved on to the class and funny car that with that left lane, like you said, Cody, it's was the biggest points maker out of the whole thing because Matt Hagan won the race. He coming into St. Louis was 67 points back, and now he's 13.
Yep.
Oof.
Huge ground maker.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tasca's in the lead. Height's second, 6 points back. He was the points leader going into St. Louis. Tasca took it over. Hagan moved from 4th to 3rd. He's 13 points back, and the defending champion Ron Capps is in 4th at 33 points back. And any one of those guys will win it.
Yep.
Chad Green, I think, was the one that had the chute come out, and he got kicked out second round, and that really hurt him. And Chad's he come from the pro mod world and coming in the funny cars, and he's been real good. And having Wilkerson's boy tuning, it's a good combo. Just waiting on him to get that first win. So, yeah. That was still shocking to me that Laughlin caught him with how good Chad got out, even with that shootout. So,
yeah,
that'll change the game in a hurry. So,
yeah,
this is the one I'm most intrigued about. Is Top Fuel. Doug Coletta's got the lead right now. He got beat by Leah Pruitt second round after he had won back-to-back races, and he had never won back-to-back races his entire career. He almost 4 years from the time he won his 49th, he got his 50th. Then he got his 51st 6 days later. So Leah's in second. Steve Torrance is in third. Justin Ashley's in fourth. Justin Ashley was on fire to start the year. He had the lead going in, I believe it was Chicago or the race right after that, and he's just I don't know what's going on. He's been blowing the tires off a lot as of late, and I don't know what's going on. We'll see what's going on in the later races. There's 3 races left. They go to Dallas this weekend. After that, they'll go to Vegas for the two lane, not the 4 wide, and then the finish Pomona. Pomona's double points, so that's going to be the big points event. That's going to be the most important. So,
yeah.
But other than that, it's been crazy. Ryan Milliken, finals loser at Battle of Thrones, first Easter. Oh, was that he was a diesel against all like regular spark plug motors, wasn't he?
Oh,
I think I seen that pass. That is one of the more impressive diesel. I don't know. I think Charles would know if he runs on ODSS or not, but that thing moves.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
And on a 275, that's a small tire.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I guess we'll just see what it plays out in Dallas. Most of the teams will arrive or are there already, but a lot of testing will go on tomorrow
Today's
night and
Wednesday,
Friday.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yep, Dallas this weekend. That's gonna be a good one.
Yep.
So, and then we'll go back to Gerbaugh's comment about
Okay.
Jay Cox. So they were racing at Galot Motorsports Park this past weekend. Drag Wars is going on, and that's where I don't know if Gerbaugh is at like his last race because I see him on the results here. He made it to the final round at Galot Motorsports Park in the Pro Nitrous category and he was a runner-up behind Tommy Franklin. So I don't know if this was his last race or if he's just going to keep with the PDRA schedule but one more.
Gerbaugh said he's got one more in him.
So, yeah. I seen a lot of highlights and stuff from this race. Down there in North Carolina.
We know the people that run that thing.
Mm-hmm. And if you've seen the picture from Shelton's, they posted a cool photo that it was them in the right lane, and then the Galot Motorsports Pro Charge Camaro was in the other lane. They're neck and neck with each other.
That was kind of cool, though.
Saying. Mm-hmm. They were. Let's see. I think that was their qualifying pass because Shelton's went out first round, and Travis Harvey was the driver of the Galot car. He went out the third round or the semifinals.
Big John didn't drive it this weekend.
I don't remember the last time that Johns drove it. It's been a while, but they have quite a few cars. See, and Shelton's car was the screw-blown old-style Mustang, which they haven't ran that one for a while. They've been so busy on the NHRA series that been kind of collecting dust up there. So, yeah, Scott Lang won the Pro Boost category, and then Pro Nitrous winner was Tommy Franklin. And then if anybody wants to, they just go to PDRA website and find the rest of the results there. So that was the two big categories highlighted there. So
yeah, it was.
All right, I've got my spiel done.
Yep, and I mean that's pretty much all we have. I mean we're winding down to our last few tractor pulls for sure. Sevierville, Tennessee is going on this weekend for TNT. Mid-South is in Woodbury, Tennessee for Beans Diesel Days, I think it's called.
Yep.
That's their last one of the year. And then we're going to kind of get into more of the racing. I don't know what the indoor dirt racing at Gateway is called. I'm not sure what the name of that event is. It's indoor. It's indoor in St. Louis. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
I know that's coming. Chili Bowl's coming. PRI show's coming. Then Diesels and Dark Corners first week in November. That event will be live streamed for the first time ever. I'm probably going to be watching that live stream because I'm tired of having to wait months and months to see it on YouTube after it comes out.
Cody, are you planning on going there or no?
No, I'm not.
Not this year.
It's a good event. That Georgia clay,
It's red.
when you got 20 some trucks and the last pullers tells you it's amazing what that dirt does, that you could be the 25th, 26th truck and still be the same as what the first truck does.
Yeah.
They do a good job down there.
Right.
Last 2 years, 2 years ago, it was cold. I mean, we went to Walmart and got like hand warmers and stuff. It was cold.
It was very cold.
It was colder in Georgia than it was in Iowa, And last year, like one of the nights we got rained out. So I mean, it was a foot of water rained out. So, but that event's it's a good event.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. They know how to build a track. They know how to fill it back in. That's the big thing is when you're first truck versus last truck, can we fill the track back in to make the class competitive? And they do a good job at it, and it's a good event.
Yeah. I will make it down there to one of those events or to Diesel Corners one of these years. I don't know when, but that's definitely on my bucket list. But just some of the other polls going on. You got North Carolina State Fair going on this weekend. Lufkin, Texas, pulling in the Pines for Outlaw. White Plains, Georgia, like we just talked about. And then Golden State Invitational in Madera, California.
Yep.
Those are just some of the ones to start kind of winding us down. Then we'll shut down for maybe a month, and we will be right back to Shipshewana, Ocala. I mean, Farm Machinery Show. I mean, we're going to fire right back up here pretty quick.
Yep.
I'm going to be curious for DIDC how many super stock trucks show up.
There's another one up in Pennsylvania this weekend. It's I forget the name of it. Wheatlands.
Yeah, it's the Wheatlands one for CS pulling.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. They always have some really cool people show up for that one.
There's Canadians showing up for the light pro class. I know
Is
that.
it really?
Yeah. Matt Dirksen.
Oh, is Dirksen going?
Yeah.
I'll be. Okay.
So, yeah, I hope for a DIDC there's not just a showing of, the 3.0s, 2.6, 3.6. I think the super stock needs some justice this year. If you look at the results, they've been down on numbers this entire year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's 4 in Rockwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that event, I mean, it pulls some people in that like you don't get to pull on Red Georgia Clay that often.
No.
And so being able to pull down there, like I said, they do a fantastic job, and they have a good event. And that's one of the events that, I mean, there's a lot of pullers from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri last year. So, Canada. I mean, there was vehicles all over that came down to that event. And that's one of those events that it's just kind of, we talk about destination pulls. That's one of those events that's what it is.
It's becoming more and more a bucket list for a lot of people. I'll say that.
Yeah,
it is.
Yep.
Well, boys, I say we wrap this thing up. We've gone 20 minutes over what we normally do. We've had some awesome discussions. I really hope you guys are watching this still, share this around and let people know what's going on, the discussions we have. I mean, we love doing this. Here within the next couple of weeks, I'm not going to say it's going to be the next show for sure, but Joe Sylvester, driver of the Bad Habit Monster Truck, is supposed to be joining us. We're still trying to work out the details with that, but whenever he comes on, I think that's going to be a lot of fun to talk to him about, because I mean, he's literally done it all. He holds a speed record in monster trucks on land, and I mean, he's done it all. I mean, he's ran against some of the greatest, and he's been to the world finals like that. So we will. I look forward to that, and then of course we have Midwest War National entries kind of shaping up. I mean, people are still entering more and more every day.
Yep.
Can't wait for that. And
for you guys that like the drag racing, I have an ice cream cruise that's coming out very, very, very soon.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't
share that album. Just shoot me a text.
I haven't seen many of like videos from Ice Cream Cruise yet. I don't know if it's just that 1320 was the only one there. Or...
It's very few to media credentials. I mean, it's not a huge like event where like there's a lot of people, but like I said, to get to know them guys and hang out with them, it's a lot of fun. So
yeah,
we'll see some pictures from that. There's been about 4 in an album already, but there's a lot more that are coming tonight. So
sweet, dude. Well, Cody, thanks for joining us tonight, dude. Where are some of the places? I mean, I hope it becomes more of a regular thing as you have time to join us. Yeah. It's always great to get our friends on here from wherever they come from. You guys get
Absolutely.
sidetracked tomorrow night at 7:30, right?
Yep. 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. So, yep.
Yeah, so everybody
Y'all make sure-
watching, tune in tomorrow night. That's gonna be a good interview.
Yeah, make sure you guys go tune in tomorrow night to watch their show. I mean, you see they're obviously supporting us. I mean, the more we support each other, the more we can grow this thing and grow it with each other to make our motorsports even more talked about than they should be, probably.
It's the best for both worlds. So
It is. It really is. Well, thank you guys so much. We will see y'all next time. We will probably be back. I think it's the 25th if my calendar's right.
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
Not this coming Wednesday because there's another one. And then with I think Slaw, Kester, and Richardson, I think they're next Wednesday, and then we'll be on the Wednesday after that. So we're going to alternate and be good for all of us.
Yep.
All right.
So.
Sounds good.
Until
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Peace.